Hi guys, I'm Nicole Kaufman and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about baby sleep, and we're just going to be talking about some of the things that were game changers for me that helped us get that sleep, because honestly, let's be real, sleep is one of the most difficult things about having a newborn. You're sleep deprived, they're trying to learn how to sleep, and overall it just can be very exhausting. So we found some things that really helped us, and looking back, I wish I knew some of them sooner, and I just want to share those with you today and hope that you can actually get some rest in the newborn stage. So we struggled a lot in the beginning with sleep. I think everybody's baby is a little bit different in how they adjust to the real world, but there was a lot that I did not know going into it. I mean, you spend so much time researching labor and not enough time learning about what you're supposed to actually do when you get home with this newborn baby. There was a lot of stuff that I had no idea, and now I do. So that's why I'm here, because I want to share it with you. I researched so much, all those late hours up holding our little guy as he slept peacefully in my arms and would not sleep in the crib. I did so much research. So that's what I want to share with you. And the first thing that was so helpful is learning how to set that good sleep foundation. And I think that was hard because I wanted like a fix, but honestly, it's more a foundation than it is a fix. And there was a lot of things that we could do in this newborn stage to set us up for success, but newborns aren't really fully capable of sleeping through the night, and there's a lot that we learned that they don't know how to do and that we have to teach them to do. So a few tips on that. The first thing that I had no idea was even a thing is day-night confusion. You may already know this and think I'm crazy for not, but newborns when they're born have their days and their nights mixed up, and I guess this is because when they're in the womb, you are walking around during the day, and so it rocks them and lulls them to sleep. And then when you lay down at night, they actually wake up, which you may remember being pregnant. Your baby might be more active at night when you're laying still because they're like, hello, like, where's my rocking, soothing motion? So when babies are born, they're ready to party at night, and during the day, they sleep so peacefully because that's what they're used to. So some of the things that help with that is just making sure you have a dim environment at night, which I shared in my breastfeeding video, this little like dim light thing that I have, which I'll link below. But it was like a game changer because you didn't have to turn on, even like a little lamp like this was so bright, like in the middle of the night. So keeping really dim lighting at night, being quiet, stimulating them as little as possible. If you have to change their diaper, doing that, and then just like not really talking to them or anything, just try and keep it very like quiet and soft and not stimulating at night. And then during the day, your baby does need to sleep, but having lights on, not being super quiet all day, like making sure that they're around noise so that they start to learn that daytime is daytime and nighttime is nighttime. So another thing after we started to get this day-night confusion figured out was practicing crib naps. This is really hard because it felt so pointless to me at the beginning, but like practicing putting your little one in the crib, even if they just sleep for like 3 minutes or 5 minutes, just teaching them how to fall asleep in the crib is like so important. It's so crazy how quickly you forget this. Our little guy is just about 8 months now, and I can like hardly remember like what it was like in the beginning, but I just would spend so much time like with my arm over the crib, just like kind of like half asleep on the crib rail, trying to like soothe him to sleep in the crib, and he'd finally fall asleep, and I'd walk away and it'd be 5 minutes and then he'd be awake and I'd be holding him for the rest of his nap. But that is like so important, teaching them to sleep in the crib. Even I just remember like some of the people who encouraged me was like every minute they're in that crib for a nap is a win. If they fall asleep for 3 minutes, it's a win. So keep practicing those crib naps. That's going to be so helpful as they get older and able to sleep more independently, learning to fall asleep in the crib and knowing how to fall asleep in the crib. The other thing that was really helpful was the wake, eat, and then play. I don't remember exactly. There's like a phrase for that. But when they wake up, they eat and then they play, versus flipping it around and like waking up and playing and then eating and then falling asleep. We didn't really ever get in the habit of nursing our little guy to sleep. I know I've done that more now that he's older and like teething and stuff than I have when he was younger. But we really did try to do that. It's really hard because it's just when they're little and they sleep all the time, it's hard not to nurse them to sleep. I'd say give yourself grace in those first like week or two, but honestly, I think it really did help in the long run, even if it was harder in the beginning. But just not nursing them to sleep and teaching them to, when they wake up, they eat and then they play. And it's like a balance figuring out with your schedule and just how often they're eating. It's really hard in the beginning, but as much as you can, trying to keep that in the back of your mind and promoting that cycle is really going to help lay a good foundation. And then the last thing that I really would recommend with that is a sound machine and blackout curtains. I will link the things that I got below for so we got blackout curtains, but they literally are not blackout. I mean, they're really light gray because I liked that color, but light comes through. And so when we were struggling with early morning wakings, I was like, what is going on? Until suddenly I realized that at 5:30, when he would wake up, the sun had started coming through the window. And so we got these, like, they're like paper accordion fold things that you literally just stick. You cut to the size of your window and you stick up. I think they were like $6 each, but they're so easy. And I still use them and love them. They're a little bit more of a pain than the nice blackout shades that you can get, but they work wonders. So I will link those below, but that helps with blackout. And then a sound machine is really, really great. We didn't use it at first, and we didn't want to like have him like needing a sound machine everywhere we went. But honestly, it changes everything. Now we hit that sound machine button and immediately he's like rubbing his eyes on my chest. Like he knows it's time for sleep as soon as we hit the sound machine. And I do think it helps block out like the noise in the house, because we do have a small house. So it helps him to stay asleep and not be woken up by us, which is really nice. But it does help with those sleep cues. So sound machines, honestly, if you're worried about that, all you have to do to wean them out, and there's tons of resources on this too, is every couple of nights just knock it down a step in volume and slowly cut it out. So it's, I don't know, we were nervous, and he will sleep without the sound machine. If we go somewhere and we don't have it, he'll still sleep. We were really nervous, and sometimes we're still like, oh, should we be doing this? Because we put it on like full blast. But that was like also a game changer in helping to set that good foundation. So set a good sleep foundation, do some research, find all these tips, and try to do them as much as possible. It's not going to be 100% of the time, and that's okay, but that really will help you in getting your baby to sleep. So the next thing that was like so crucial in getting our little guy to sleep was paying attention to wake windows. So this is kind of, some people have a schedule with naps. I'm definitely more wake window focused, and I think that helps so much with getting in those good naps. So different ages, they have different amounts of time that they're supposed to be awake. The newborn stage is like 60 to 90 minutes. It's not very long. Honestly, our little guy was always on the lower end and would hardly make it to like the low end of whatever that age wake window is. So for newborn, it's like 60 to 90 minutes. Now I think at 7-ish months, it's like 2.5 to 3.5 hours, and he a lot of times will only go 2. That's what he needs. It's different, but figure out like what, it's trial and error pretty much. Figure out what your baby needs at the age that they're at, and just kind of paying attention to those wake windows, because we realized that we were getting our little guy overtired, and then he would not be sleeping well. And so we really had to focus on making sure he slept when he needed to get to sleep, because he was literally yawning all day long. And I remember just being like, why is he always tired? But it was because we were trying to stretch his wake windows to make him sleep more at night, and that was like total opposite thinking. So staying awake longer is not necessarily good, especially for newborns. So just that like mentality of like, oh, maybe if I keep them up and wear them out, they'll sleep better, is not how it works with babies. And I don't even think it's how it works with kids. I've heard some of my friends who have kids who are a little older, like, no, that's not how it works. Like they need good sleep. Otherwise they're not going to sleep well at night. So good day sleep equals good night sleep. So definitely paying attention to wake windows. Look them up. Just look up wake windows for a 3-month-old or wake windows for a 6-month-old, whatever age your baby is. And then you'll find like what is best and what is recommended. And those are averages. So keep that in mind. The next thing, which kind of goes along that, is finding encouragement, finding different, I followed a ton of Instagram accounts and found people that were really helpful on YouTube that talked about sleep and how to establish that good sleep. 2 of my favorites, this one girl I found, her account is Wink and Bundle, which I'll link her below, but she does this Ask Me Monday, and I felt like I must be this crazy person, because I literally every Monday I looked forward to it, because I was like, I don't know what to do with my 1-week-old. I don't know what to do with my 2-week-old, all the way up until it got a little better once he started sleeping. It wasn't every week, but she does this Ask Me Monday, and you can ask any question. She's a sleep expert, certified, and she is so helpful. She also offers different programs that you can buy and stuff like that. And then the second one, which you may have heard of, Taking Care of Babies. I love her too. She's super helpful. She has a ton of stuff in her stories, like so many helpful tidbits in her stories. I don't even know what I would have done without all of those things just on early morning wakings and sleeping through the night and nap times and anything sleep related. So definitely find people who are going to help you. I think when you pay attention to sleep is when you can start to get into that better sleep routine. Obviously, you can't obsess about it, and sometimes I got a little bit too over the top about it. We also were kind of trapped at home a lot during the newborn stage, and so it was hard not to like obsess about it because that was all I was focused on. So yeah, just finding people to help is really, really beneficial. So some other factors too that really played into our sleep experience with our baby, we ended up holding him almost every minute of his sleep when he was a newborn for the first like 3 months. It was exhausting. I had a lot of back complications after labor, and so I was in a lot of pain, and just holding him for naps was so hard. As much as I loved it, and I can't wait for that stage with another baby, like I love those newborn cuddles. They're so amazing. But it was just like taking a toll on my back. It was taking a toll on my mental health. I wasn't able to get anything done around the house. And those first few weeks, maybe month after was fine. But after a while, I was like, okay, something needs to change. And that's what a lot of these sleep experts say, is that it doesn't need to change until you're ready for it to change. So if you're fine holding your baby all day long, that's fine. But as soon as you're ready for it to change, that's when you can step in and make some changes. So yeah, our little guy could not lay flat. Like if we'd lay him down, he would just be in miserable pain, it seemed like. And I wasn't sure if it was reflux. I wasn't sure what it was. And the doctors really encouraged me not to cut out dairy for the longest time. But finally I cut out dairy, and that was like a night and day difference. Even still, which I need to try it again, but even still, if I have dairy by mistake, like the littlest bit, he like won't take naps. Like he's just in pain and just cries when he'll like fall asleep for 10 minutes and then wake up crying. It's awful. So I think cutting out dairy really helped for us. And I know for me, I cut out dairy and chocolate. Those are two things that I know for sure bother him. And I keep being like, maybe it doesn't and I'll just try it again, but it always does. So I cut that out, and that was like a huge help with sleep, which I didn't realize how much of a correlation that can have with sleep. I thought it would just affect like their stomachs and their during the day, but really sleep is huge with these dairy sensitivities and things. So I would talk to your doctor, but for me, that really helped us with sleep. The other thing that I did, and I didn't really do this intentionally, but we were down visiting my parents, and I wasn't feeding him as long each feeding because we were doing a lot of stuff, so I didn't have like the longest time ever. So I ended up just feeding him more frequently. So I added a feeding during the day, and that was the first time he ever slept through the night. And I was like, this is amazing. So from then on out, I fed him. I think in the beginning, I was doing every 3 hours in the morning and then every 2 hours in the afternoon. So I added a feeding during the day, and I don't know. I mean, with this kind of thing, it's trial and error, and you don't fully know what really was actually helping you, but I did that for the longest time, and he did great. So adding a feeding really helped me. So just honestly, it's all just trial and error, and you have to just take time to focus on like what your baby needs, and take in all of these tips from all the experts and other people who have experienced different things with it, and just kind of try and apply them and see what works for you, because what works for you is going to be completely different than what works for everybody else, and that's okay because you and your baby are different. But yeah, honestly, it was tough in the beginning, and if you're in those first few weeks, it's tough, and that's just part of having a newborn, but it doesn't have to be miserable. And there are definitely so many resources out there and so many different people you can find to help you through this time, and different tips that you can find and things that you can try to make it work. Another thing which I wasn't able to do as much in the beginning because of my back is wraps, like different carriers that you can let your baby sleep on the go. So honestly, my favorite one, and I love it because it's so easy, is the Baby Katan. The Katan is actually just 2 loops, which I wish I could show it to you, but I don't have it here. And it literally, you just loop it over your neck and like pull it down, and then you just stick your baby in. Like you don't have to do any fancy wrapping. It doesn't ever touch the ground. It's so easy. And I use that all the time now, and I look forward to like being able to use that earlier on with the next baby, but he will just go to sleep in that and loves it and will sleep really well. And so in the newborn stage, I really do recommend like getting a wrap. We also have the Lily baby carrier, which is more, I kind of feel it's more like heavy duty. I did use that because it was a little bit better than the Katan on my back in the very beginning, but we use that when we're outdoors. My husband wears it a lot because when we're like hiking or anything like that. But the baby Katan, I still use it. I mean, he's almost 8 months and he's getting pretty big, but I still use it like if we're at church or if we're like out and about and I know that he needs at least a little nap, I will put him in that and he will knock out and sleep, and it's great. So I do recommend that. Just finding anything that can help you make it easier while still being able to enjoy your baby when you're sleep deprived is really helpful. If you have any questions, I'd love to try and answer them or direct you to different resources that can help you answer them. So put your questions in the comments below and I will try my best to answer them right away. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit subscribe. I'll be sharing lots more tips like this and just more of our experience as well. So hit subscribe and I will see you guys next time.